What's up, y'all? Andy McCabe here with Claims Delegates. Something hit me today. So I've got 3.5 hour drive to Portland to do an appraisal and IKEA. I'm so looking forward to IKEA. But I'm thinking, as I tend to do when I drive distances like this, had a conversation with a friend of mine. He was thinking about starting to do his own mold remediation. As a general contractor, the pricing he was getting from vendors in the local market to do your run-of-the-mill attic, just your pre-sale mold remediation, right? Every single attic in the freaking world has some sort of mold on the sheathing somewhere, and especially in these tight real estate markets, the home appraisers and inspectors are calling this stuff out. So, long story short, every single home purchase includes some level of mold remediation. So my friend is doing a lot of this. He's doing a lot of mortgage stuff, bank-owned stuff, and other. So he's seeing a lot of transactions, and he's having to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to subcontractors to do this sort of work. And he thinks that he could do it cheaper in-house. And then he says, so I ask him, okay, if you're serious about this, you need to be serious about this. What kind of pollution coverage do you carry? Well, none. I said, okay, well, you need to figure out what that's going to cost you. And he said, well, do I need pollution coverage if I'm not testing for mold? So, if my friend is out there and you recognize a story, I think you were coming from, please don't take it personally, I think you were coming from a little bit of a place of naivete when it comes to mold remediation, because you came from a different background. You didn't understand, like a lot of us do in the restoration. We came up through it. We understand at a deeper level what it means to be a mold remediator and the risks involved. So my friend didn't truly understand the risks involved. He said, well, I don't want to bother with testing. I got some foo-foo juice that somebody, got me, a stain remover. And, I can hire some guys with some sandpaper and some Hepavax. So this was his plan, his grand plan to save. I don't know the grand scheme of things. If I was going to guess, he's going to save 30% really on doing mold remediation in-house. But his answer, his thing was, well, I don't want to do testing. I don't want to call it mold. And he doesn't want to do testing because of the, once again, perceived costs. And so I explained to him, it's only going to take one weird home buyer that buys this home. They live in it for 6 months. The mold remediation was part of the sale, right? It was part of the negotiating agreements. It was in the inspector's report. You did some mold remediation in the attic, but this person's been living here 6 months, and all of a sudden they pull the bed away from the wall and it's covered in mold. And then they get sick. We are sick. You killed us. And since you were the one that did the only mold remediation that there's record of at the house, and you didn't do testing, you have no way of telling them that wasn't us. The only way to protect yourself from someone like that, and they'll shut you down. You don't have pollution coverage, you don't have proper liability coverage in for something like that, they shut you down. Your business is gone. It just is. You can't afford, it's a critical, fatal risk. One mistake, when one weird customer will destroy your business, that's a risk you can't afford to take. So, in the end of the day, I don't think he opted to go that route. He didn't want to get the coverage, pollution coverage. He didn't want to. He called me to see if I could train his guys, and I said, well, I can train you to do it, but that's not going to release you from any liability for actually doing it. And so I believe, and what really hit me on the way over is, I believe fully 25% of this industry is folks that are doing things this way. They're a one-man operator, or they're asked to do this stuff on the side. So they do mold remediation in-house for bargain basement dollars. They don't do testing, or if they do, they don't do proper testing. They don't do follow-up testing. They'll do one test, right? They'll take one air sample, which doesn't give you a clear picture of the indoor air quality of that entire dwelling. So what I think these bottom feeders don't understand is they're betting their whole business on something not going wrong, and they're not getting a good picture of the true indoor air environment. And so, punchline that I'm going for 6.5 minutes here: if you're not going to do it right, don't do it. Leave it to the professionals that respect the craft and respect the risks. A good friend of mine does mold remediation in Portland, Oregon. He's been doing it for a number of years, and he used to be an amazing athlete. Triathlete and all this stuff. He got a mold infection. A lot of us, I think, we're nonchalant about it, right? Sometimes we'll put a mask on. Oh, it's really fuzzy. We're going to put a half face, right? It's all right. We got tough guy syndrome. He got sick. He got really sick, and he can't even run anymore. So the risks, the hazards of doing mold remediation are real. He got it because it's just a function of numbers. He had so much exposure because that's what he did for a living over and over and over and over again. It was just a matter of time. So take it seriously. And if any of y'all get undercut by these shady operators, these unlicensed, some states you got to be licensed. You don't have to be in Oregon, but I would demand to see the pre and post testing, and not just one tape lift off of a piece of sheeting. A real protocol, a real analysis done by a real IEQ expert, a real hygienist. These mold remediators, they're doing their own testing in-house to save a buck. You're defeating the whole purpose. You're actually degrading the credibility of the entire industry when you do that, because we need to have some lines where there has to be some third-party viability, credibility to the work that we do. And if we're doing our own testing, doing our own work, and it's not, giving ourselves a gold star, what kind of credibility is that? Not very much. So partner with somebody. Partner with a good hygienist. A good hygienist is going to make sure that you're covered and the job's done right, and they're going to pay for themselves in the reduced risk. All right, 9 minutes. Sorry about that. Hope you all doing well. Let me know if you got any questions. Claims related, Xacitmate related. Oh, I've got a course coming up. Xacitmate crash course. You got some new folks on your staff. Need to get into Xacitmate quickly and start doing work. I'm not going to teach you how to be a pro, but I will definitely give you enough tools to get in there and start working and doing good work. So, all right, restorationcrashcourse.com. Well, there you go.